It's a SWOT analysis. It's a strength, weakness, opportunity, threats analysis. It's the way organizations look at themselves in certain situations to check their health. And we have some strengths right now in the life of Clear Creek in the midst of a global pandemic. But I also think we have some threats. And I want to talk to you about one of the threats that I think we are facing these days. You know, from the beginning, what we've said is we want to take this opportunity to really love our neighbors. And so I want to talk to you about what that really looks like right now. I mean, one of the threats we face is disunity. And that disunity surrounds the decision about reopening for in-person services. I saw something on social media that really acknowledged the differing opinions about churches and when they should reopen or not. And so anyway, it showed all these different voices, right? So one person saying, we need churches to open their buildings. I mean, I need to be there. I need to see all the people. What are we waiting for? Another one says, you can't open the church building. I mean, that would be a huge health risk. It would be wrong, morally wrong to do that. Another says, well, it's all a big hoax. It's a media frenzy. You just read this article, this link. Don't be afraid. And then someone else says, well, my wife, my husband, my sister, my brother, my niece, they died of COVID-19. And then you get this email. It says, here are 25 things you need to do in order to open the church building in a safe way. And then you get an email that says, my family's going to stay home if we open the building. I mean, sorry, we're just not ready for that. And then finally, someone who says, I don't care if we ever open the building again. We love worshiping at home. Home is so much better. Now, there's some truth to every one of those points of view. And there are people who are part of this family of faith that fit into each of those categories. And because there's so many different points of view, we have to give special attention to unity. The diversity of perspectives will make your head spin. And it pretty much assures that no church, including Clear Creek Community Church, is going to come up with some reopening plan that everyone's going to like. So unity is not always about agreeing, because if you always agree, you don't really require any real commitment to unity, right? I mean, unity is a commitment to oneness, even when we don't agree, or especially when we don't agree on some things because we are so committed to that one thing that makes us who we are. And at Clear Creek, that's our mission, of course. Listen, this is why Jesus prayed the high priestly prayer in John 17:11. Holy Father, keep them in your name, which you have given me, that they may be one, even as we are one. The Apostle Paul, the same thing in Ephesians chapter 4, is calling us to unity. And he says that we should live with one another in love, eager to maintain the unity of the Spirit and the bond of peace. In 1 Peter 3:8, Peter says, finally, all of you have unity of mind, sympathy, brotherly love, and a tender heart, and a humble mind. It was the psalmist in Psalm 133 that says, how good and pleasant it is when brothers dwell together in unity. Unity is this necessary track for worship and for mission. So, friends, please don't let this become political. I can assure you it's not political for any of those who are making the decision as to when we're going to be meeting as a church. So what influences our decision then? Well, wisdom, I hope. I mean, we want to do what's wise, and sometimes wisdom's just slow. It's not fast. And wisdom can be patient to do what's best for everyone. Another guiding factor is just the whole quality of the experience. We want to do in-person gatherings when we can do them better than we can provide the experience that we do online. So here's what I'm just calling us to. Think about quality, even the quality we're going to experience when we begin to gather in in-person services. You know that Pee-wees and Creek kids, they don't social distance, so that won't be provided for us, but we'll be social distancing. I mean, there'll be rows in between us and seats in between us, and there'll be no hugs or handshakes or otherwise touching because people probably have to make reservations when we meet. And we'll only have about 40% of the room's capacity full. And everyone will be wearing masks and coming in and going out. There's no talking in the lobby or anything. I mean, having said that, we are just going to have a very different experience, and it's going to be that way when we begin to meet all the way until we get a vaccine and a therapy along the way. So here's what we can expect. Whenever we begin to meet in person, some will meet when the more vulnerable or the more cautious will not meet. And we won't put any shame or embarrassment on anybody because we're committed to unity. And along the way, one day, we're going to get to have everybody together. And that's going to be a great day. It's a day that we will celebrate. I'm so looking forward to that day when all the weirdness of deciding whether or not we can hug each other or shake hands isn't awkward anymore. But until then, we can still be the church that honors God in tons of ways in our home life, our devotional life, in our small groups, in the way groups come together, in the ways we love our neighbors, and in the ways we care for each other, and in the many ways that we serve our community. So I'll conclude with what we've said all along. The church is a people. It's not a place. It's a people you belong to, not even an event you attend. And that's why we can thrive in the mission of God and the purpose of God, even though we're not gathering in in-person services yet. But stay tuned. Stay tuned to social media, to the website, to your campus Facebook page for the next phase of opening. Now, when we begin to come together again, and I'm looking forward to that day, we want to remember that as we gather, we are gathering with all of the truths that we had just talked about at play, that Jesus' prayer is being fulfilled, that the Apostle Paul's teaching about unity is being fulfilled, that this beauty of unity in the body of Christ is being fulfilled. Because that's what demonstrates this beautiful, powerful, compelling picture of the gospel of Jesus.